What's up, ladies? What's going on? 1 second, I might wipe this camera. Ignore this. I'm on my laptop. What's been happening, guys? What's been going on? How's things? What have you all been up to? Any questions for today? Anything that you're up to? For me, I'm still in Dubai at the moment. I'm actually out to buy some things. So imagine that you were as rich as me, then you could buy all of the same crap as me. This is unfortunately my spending habits are crazy, right? My spending habits are wild. I think that I'm probably spend, I don't know, $100K a month now at the moment. Unfortunately, it's a part of it. But that's the thing that you yourself probably don't want to get into. Spending only gets more spending. Investing is different, but I'm actually investing also at the moment. So this money will go to investing. But what again, like this idea of a bucket theory is so I'm an investor, I run SLB crypto, but I'm still building a product as well. So I'm building out a product as well. So I'm building out Soul Stake. So again, you can kind of get it all around. Like if you're bullish on crypto, you could be building a crypto project. The old days of I'm just launching a rug pull or a shit coin, that stuff's kind of dying out. Like you have to produce something that generates revenue. That's predominantly the best way to do it. If you have a revenue producing asset, then you can kind of more easier to tokenize it. Like that's to become a bigger thing, tokenization of everything. What's up, guys? What's been happening? How he's going? How you surviving this crypto market? It is a little bit depressing. I run SLB crypto and it's a little bit depressing. I had Invisalign. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. Have you guys heard of Invisalign? So instead of getting braces, you can get Invisalign put in, which is they put like plates over the top, like these little plastic trays, and it gets smaller and smaller until eventually your teeth get straight. And I haven't worn mine. So I had the trays and I stopped wearing them. And now I have to wear them again because my teeth, I can hear it. They sound a bit weird. But what's all been happening, guys? Any questions that anyone has? Anyone got anything to ask? Anything that they're unsure about? I saw an interesting thing that the US is producing this iron, what is it, the Iron Dome, but it's to be a golden dome. So you guys know that the ballroom that Trump's building will become the third temple. And that's why they're building this golden dome as well. I don't want to drop the truth nuke on you guys, but that's the truth. That's why it's privately funded, because you guys couldn't fund it. That's true. Like you would need to do some study on who actually funded it. You would need to start to worry about why they're building weird temples in essentially around the White House and just before Bro's election campaign. They're to be producing golden domes. Like, why do you think that is? What are they expecting? Again, what sort of attacks are they actually expecting? But again, this Skynet idea of essentially the data centers and things, that they'll have to be protected because, I mean, you would kind of, if you could understand data centers are building a database on you, a lot of people would be, I don't want these around. Like the data center exists and it's mapping you. It's trying to replace you. Like it's learning who you are. So keeping all of your data and all of your crap online so everyone can access your data. That's a problem. What do I think Bitcoin will become in 2050? I already have my theory for what I would expect the Bitcoin will become. I think by 2030 or right on 2030, they'll have a fork. Or might even be a little bit faster at this point. And it'll be a quantum resistant fork because they can access Satoshi's keys because Satoshi's keys are the first wallets. They're not as secure. The seed is different. Like the seed code is slightly different. It's a little bit different. But if you could understand the red heifer, they burnt one, was it a few months ago? And it was the first one that they burnt in 2,000 years. So the concept of the red heifer is a brilliant one because understand that it's like a God-made decay. So imagine that you have to get a purified heifer to that point. That takes a lot of fucking like they'll have to get to a certain like gene editing level where they can actually do it. That's a decay by the creator. You have to reach this certain amount of years that you can actually produce one, and then now you can do it because it takes a certain amount of technology to be able to produce one. They have tried it before and they haven't really been able to deliver one that's, the purest form. But I would imagine that they're getting very close, if not already there. So all that stuff, I know people look in and they're like, that stuff is crazy. But if the smartest people in the world and the ones who are kind of pushing the tech forward believe that, then you would be a fool not to really believe it. Like, it's pretty obvious from their results that they know exactly what they're doing. That's the thing. Like, they're not communicating with this. They're not in this level. They've ascended to another level. That's the truth. They're not getting their information from here, like the information channels that we have. You need to research what CERN is. Those sort of places. A lot of discoveries in tech have been made out of CERN. The World Wide Web, a lot of other stuff. But understand that for humans, when it's needed, it will arrive. It's manifested. Like this idea of there's a massive plague, and then suddenly there's, we discovered antibiotics by mistake, and all that's all. If you need it, it will arrive because you're moving through a funnel. Like, they understand this idea when they say, if we try to launch a nuke or we try to do nuclear testing, and suddenly the machines and things stop working. That's intentional. Like, that's not just some officers just imagine that it's happened. It's because you're not allowed to do anything that will destroy what's to come. Like, you're not allowed to break anything within the system that would destroy what's to come. If you were to try and, maybe you would try and get key players, you would be wiped off the map. Like, you can't stop what's to come. Like, you can't. Because again, you can read the Bible and you can realize it's the same story. It's a bigger story than the life itself that you're living, but it's exactly the same funnel. Like, you can't see the similarities. I really don't understand how people can't really see things that are similar. They think too literally. That's the problem. But what else is happening, guys? What's happening with this all? He's ready for the Bitcoin cycle to break. I told you guys the 4-year cycle will break this cycle. I said it, what did I say, like a year or two ago? And it's true. Like, the 4-year cycle will actually break this cycle. But I'm not worried about, essentially it breaking. But I would consider that it might go to, 69K or something first. Sweeping the lows would make a lot of sense, because everyone that wanted to long can long at 80K and be like, oh, well, I'm long massive support. So how am I going to get scared out of a position? Maybe a digital asset treasury needs to go under or post that they're dissolving. And then others will be like, holy shit, MicroStrategy are cooked here. And then they'll sell into a massive cascade, maybe 74K holds up or something. Dr. Grenberg is Jacob Grenberg is one to follow. He's very good, but it's it's not just the lattice, like the Akachi records and others, that those things have existed since the dawn, like at least since pretty close to the dawn of time. The all-knowing information system that kind of knows everything. But it's true. I mean, it's the truth. It's how I know so much. Everything exists already. You just have to be able to access it. It's the truth. But again, you can only access it. Alignment's a big thing. Like, again, if you have a broken logic tree, if you have negative, self-talk, if you have other things, it's going to be harder for you to kind of reach out to it. Yeah, the Invisaligners aren't bad, bro. They're really not bad. I don't wear them now, but that's why also I was meant to wear them, and now my bite is a little bit fucked because I stopped using them. And now my talking is a little bit off. I'll probably have to wear them again. Because when your teeth move, it affects everything. You have to process all of that shit. Teeth are big. I'm not telling you that if your teeth are fucked that you're absolutely cooked, but teeth are quite important because it fucks up your whole jaw. Like, you can end up with big issues later. Teeth you have to look after. I know that it's crazy to sit on here and talk about it, but some people don't know that. And then once they're small, it's not a big thing. But once they start to have problems, it gets expensive and it gets fucking painful. I have teeth missing from being taken out in the army. When you're poor, you can't really treat them, so you just get them taken out, and you think that it's not a problem, but it is a problem later. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I believe that. Obviously, I believe that I'm the originator of this sort of an idea. Ant Middleton will be the mayor of London. I know people will look in and be like, that's not possible. If he's not the mayor, he'll be some sort of military piece of that. He'll be like their sidekick. He'll be standing on side with the London mayor. The mayor of London, the one that's in now, he's a guy that will be replaced later, yes. But he's the Kash Patel. Like, he's the idiot. Like, Kash Patel is a fucking idiot. Like, they've put him in because they know he's a moron and they know that he's a fall guy. Zelensky is a massive fall guy. Like, if you really don't think that after the war, those people, you would almost short their life expectancy. Like, they're meant to, they know too much. So the people will, what do you think's going to happen to them? Like, you really think it's the same thing in prison? When you're in prison and the drugs are in the unit, everyone's happy. Like, everyone's fucking best friends. Like, the unit's full of drugs. Everyone's on top of the world. Everything's great. There's subby everywhere, subby tech everywhere. Everyone's best buddies. Everyone's friends. Then once it starts to dry up, they're similar to Zelensky. When the money dries up in Ukraine, there'll be bodies fucking littering the street. And they won't just be like plebs. They'll be actually people that were shot callers. Because everyone fights when the money runs out, one. And then everyone fights at the end because who are we going to blame? It was this person's fault that misappropriated the funds when they all did. You got people in Ukraine that fucking send their own men out with broken rifles and fake gear just so that they can buy a G-Wagon. That country is fucking disgusting. It's actually absolutely crooked over there. It's a new level of corruption. Like, you send guys out that are 18 years old that look like you, they're the same type, to die, and you don't even give them a fair fight so that you can get your mistress a fucking new Hermes bag. It's fucking disgusting over there. Like, I've lost a lot of belief in that country. Like, I lost a lot of belief in that country because I don't care what they do to foreigners. Like, I really don't give a shit. I mean, if they don't like them, whatever, but they do a lot of cruel shit to their own people. They don't really stand for anything. Like, deep down, they don't. Like, the ones who essentially stood for a lot died for the country. And now the shit people in charge just chest beat and make a bunch of noise so that they can buy a bunch of bullshit for others and then just send their own people to just be butchered. It's disgusting. Like, such an idea. It's completely unacceptable. Everything. I started listening to you. Shit in my life keeps going wrong. Why is this? Because it's probably noticed how shit things are. Like, a lot of you, again, you're distracted. And then when you start to kind of take the wheel over your own life, you're like, I don't even know what lane I'm in. Like, what the fuck have I been doing for the last, 10 years? Taking an accountability, like you're taking an inventory when your life is a mess, is not easy. Because some of you will be like, how bad has it gotten? Like, how is this even possible? I don't want to face this. Let me just turn Roblox back on and be a fucking toddler. But that's it. Like, that's life. Who the fuck said that life was meant to be comfortable and easy? It's been easy enough. If you don't have what it is that you would want, a lot of things have to change, and some of the things that have to change is a complete slap in the face moment. How often should we get a haircut? I mean, if you can't really afford haircuts and shit like that, I don't know why you just don't just get clippers and then just get other people to cut your hair. Just have like a friend or something. That's what we do in prison. You have a friend and you just clipper each other's hair. You don't need to be a barber to do that. It's pretty fucking basic. I could do this myself if I could be fucked. If lust is a sin and the main power a woman has over a man is their angelic looks, well, it's not really the case. Lust is not really. Lust can be if it's outside of marriage and things, but I don't take that stuff so literally. Like, from a logical lens, what value do women have to offer? But then if you want to have a family, if you want to have, a household and things like that, it's probably easier with a girl. But I understand the value proposition of women. I'm not going to say it as some like black pill tard. But the more that you have and the longer that you're alone, see, that's the illusion. The longer that you're alone, the more comfortable you'll be with being alone. That's just how everything works. Like, the longer that you're in one position, the harder it will be to change that. Because the hardest thing for a guy is when he starts to actually like his own company. And it's harder to be like, oh well, it didn't work out or whatever. I don't mind being alone. But that's also good for you. Whereas a lot of other people, they get a girl because they think that they want to be entertained. I want sex. This is entertainment. I'm not doing shit, so I can just sit around all day with the chick and just fuck around and watch TV and goof off and do a bunch of shit. It's like cheap entertainment if you both just sit around and, I don't know, fuck around all day. But then essentially, when you kind of have things and you have your routine set up and you have your life set up and things like that, the value proposition of women is less. And I understand that because I've seen it myself. If you have, like, if I can have a maid, if I can have a cleaner, if I can have all of the things in everything that I want, and I can have a girl that I see sometimes that I want to see if I want to see her, whatever, it's the value proposition is less. If you're to, if you don't want kids, then I can understand the value proposition of dating women is less than it probably. That's just a realistic thing. But if you want kids, then you're probably gonna have to get along with a woman. But again, that's the thing that you yourself have to look into. Like, again, I would hope that you guys are doing the work at what, 12 to 4, not every night and not all the time, but during that window, and assessing what it is that you want out of life. Do you want kids? Because some don't, and if you don't, that's fine. Like, understand the idea of, like, some of you, like, I don't know, read the Bible or something like that, and you think that you have to do everything that's in there. Like, someone's telling you all of this shit, but you don't feel like you want it. I don't want to have kids. I don't want to do this. I don't want a wife. And then, like, that's your business. If you don't have kids, it's your to be determined, but it still doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you're a failure or something like that. It's your decision. That's why free will exists. Like, you can't be forced to do things that you don't want to do. Because some people also, they have kids and they didn't want them, and then they're like, I don't want to deal with this shit. Someone else has to raise my kids, or I wasn't in a position to, and now the kids are fucked up or something. It's not for me to say if you should or not, but it's your to be determined, right? That's yeah. It's fine. It's okay. Being too immature is fine, but kids do grow you up. But again, it's to be determined person by person. A lot of things in life, like, the way is found after you make the action, which is ironic. I've had, I have friends that I've known that have had kids that were fucking massive fuck ups. Guys in prison, guys that were, drug addicts, guys that were in prison for, violent crap and maybe treating women like shit, even beating them up and shit like that. And then they had kids and they've changed. Kids do soften you up a lot. Like, that's the truth of the matter. But I'm not saying that it's something that you should do if you yourself don't feel it. But also, you shouldn't feel pressured. Like, I know a lot of people sometimes do. They're like, my mom and dad are pushing me to do this, or my mom and dad are pushing me to, like, marry this chick, but I don't want to. You shouldn't be pushed in directions that you don't want. It's one thing to be someone's like, I think this is a good idea for you, but it's another when they make you feel guilty and, like, they push you and they pressure you. It's you're going to be disowned if you don't do this, or you need to marry this girl, or why don't you have a wife yet? And you're like 22 years old in the West. But understand, I'm not saying in certain countries, because in certain Arab countries and, like, Indian or Pakistani countries, their culture's a bit different. Like, they can fucking have, like, marriages that are arranged. They do a bunch of shit like that. It's more, that traditional shit is more serious. It's more, it's in the nature. But in the West, a lot of the parents, and I don't want to diss your parents, but they don't know shit about how the world is today. Most of them, they don't. Like, I respect my parents and I love them, but it's the same. They don't really know shit about how the world is today. The same as me, who's 40 years old. I can't relate to you if you're 18. Like, running around. I can understand that I get a pretty better idea than they do at 60. But I'm already rich. I have a kid. I have my own shit in order. I'm not coming up in the 17 and 18 where the unemployment is quite high. It's hard to get a job that's not shit. I know that. Like, I can see that on the ground. So I can understand that some of you are in a different sort of plight than I was. The irony is, life is hard. Life is easier to be probably, like, ultra mediocre today, because there's a lot of distractions and things, and you can just goof off all day if you really want. But it's harder to climb the ladder. Yeah. Also, because there's too much information. It's like Netflix when you want to watch a movie, but there's this screen is just bombarded with shows. Like, and then you're like, oh, I want to find a movie, but there's 100 movies in front of me. I can't pick one. It's like that with a direction. Bitcoin itself is, I'll tell you guys, the 4-year cycle will break this cycle. We might be in, a 3 to 6 month down period, but we're in a bear market for altcoins since like last year. Like altcoins predominantly topped at the end of last year, most of them. So this is like, this is Bitcoin itself is holding up, and a couple of shit altcoins are doing okay. But this will just be seen as a cool down period in my view. Maybe we sweep the lows of like 69 or 73 or 74k. Could be swept. 69k support for the last cycle. I think though that it will actually hold up. 80k, can it hold up? It's in my view, it's less likely. It's less likely because everyone's waiting to sell a complacency rally to like 90 or 100k. So it seems if that's the case, we wouldn't reach that. But I know that Bob Loukas has come out and said that he thinks that the 4-year cycle is top is in, all of these things. But I don't believe so. I think that we have quantitative tightening ending in a week, right? Next week. And then we have, so that's wrapped up. And then we have inevitable QE. And then we have Trump coming out saying things like this AI project, what is it, Genesis, that they have to fund it. And it's just the basic, like that's just the skeleton. Understand when they talk about building a system like that and they say it's for medical research, they tell you that because you have to pay for it. You wouldn't build it if you knew exactly what it was on the back end. Like that's not, again, like you're looking at ChatGPT and you think that's OpenAI. That's the shit that you're feeding it because you're giving it data, but that's the shit that you're allowed to interact with. That's like the sandbox. On the back end, they're thinking military uses, and that's what they're actually using it for at real power. But they have to give you a front end product or you wouldn't support it. This, like, this Genesis idea, that doesn't make you a little bit nervous? Why do you think that they call it all of those things? Like, why do you think that they had Project Stargate, the astral projection, where they were astral projecting to Mars, the CIA experiment, and then they called it the next, this next AI advancement, Project Stargate, the same, and now they call their production Genesis. Like, why do you think that they do all of that? It's because they have to do it. They have to tell you the game that they're playing. That's a universal law. They have to show you the game that they're playing. I've got a 24-hour layover. Gonna go check out Jewel. Yeah, Jewel's shop is good. He does really well. It's actually quite massive now. He's done really good with that sort of shit. I like I go there sometimes. I've been there a few times. But he likes the hub to a city all around there. But there's a few good spots in Dubai. I try not to do the tourist stuff as much now. But yeah, I mean, it depends if you like to drink or not. Drinking here, I don't try not to drink as much lately. Thoughts on Google using ASICs not for AI and not going down the GPU route? Yeah, I don't know enough really about those. I mean, ASICs, it makes sense, right? For what it is that they're for. I think that I think that they're going to be, because I mean we transition from GPUs to ASICs for Bitcoin, right? So it would make sense that they're probably going to eventually, because Bitcoin, they realize that they're I would assume the most optimal product. Otherwise, they would have just kept using that sort of shit. So I would assume that they're probably realizing that shit themselves. But ASICs is I don't know about now, but there used to be a massive bottleneck to actually be able to get them. Like even, what they had miners and things like that. There used to be a massive bottleneck because they were getting a lot of them from China. Although I can imagine that the US is doing their own miners now. You haven't seen the final form of the ASICs. I have a pretty good idea of what ASICs to become, but they're still very new at the moment. But what else is happening, guys? But yeah, crypto itself, I mean, be prepared for, I think, slow market to like the end of Q1, I guess. Maybe the end of Q1, the price is like, I think we're maybe not all-time highs, but probably getting close. But at that period, we're starting to range from like 90 to all-time highs again. And then I think that we'll break out in Q2, and then I think that we'll end Q2, or maybe we're starting Q3 at like 160. Ethereum's like 7K, I would assume. My book's mostly done. I haven't released it though, because I would wonder. It's hard to release something like that. I think that we'll to see how it goes. There's a lot of personal shit in there, so I haven't really released it yet. ETH has been a massive letdown this cycle. That's true, but Ethereum itself is going to like 0.06 or 0.08 this cycle. But ETH kind of, I mean, it doesn't really have a narrative. Like really, I mean, it has DeFi coming forward. I mean, a lot of the DeFi will be on Ethereum. It has the tokenization of everything, but it always has something. Let's be frank, like ETH has kind of failed at everything that it is to deliver so far, besides like a smart contract platform. Like, have you ever actually like you use the wallets? They're fucking pretty crappy. Like, still, how is it still so confusing to use after 10 years of what release? Like your average normie, they can't use it. Like you put them on my Ether wallet or my crypto or something, they don't know what they're doing. Yes, MetaMask and things makes it a little bit easier, but it also makes it more likely that they'll lose their money. It's like one is completely difficult to use, and the other is like kind of sloppy security. What do I think of the Schwab Institute video? I think that he's just setting our expectations for what it is to become. He's a cult leader though, but he's on his way out. Like they're not keeping that fucking guy around. World Economic dude. He was ideas. He's the ideas guy, but his ideas will become about once he's dead. And whether they can come to bring him back and things like that, I would assume it's probably quite likely. But his ideas will come about later. But he's kind of like a cult leader, I guess. He's just leading a cult. Kind of sounds like he's going down a pivot towards like Scientology or something like that. That sort of an idea. It sounds quite similar. I want to get a group of people who essentially then I can just hammer them with my ideas. Kind of like he does with, because also people would be like, I want to join the institute and things like that. And then they can filter to get people who are high net worth in there and then essentially drain them. You need to do this course. You need to do that. You need to do this when you have a lot of money. And then, that's all targeted. The Scientology does another. I'm not saying that Scientology is bad or all of these things, but they do the same thing. Sounds like he's doing the same shit. It's hard to say Scientology is in itself bad. Depends where it is that you fall into. Anything sucks if you're on the absolute low end. Like everything kind of sucks on that point. If you're a complete shit muncher and that's sort of an idea. Like running around having to knock on doors for places like that is not fun. Any more questions, guys? But you guys know with this Ant Middleton stuff to expect to, But yeah, okay. This mayor of New York, all of that stuff again is because they're going to have massive riots. It's true. Like they're incubating little groups and not punishing them and letting them expand, and then eventually they'll start burning down cities and shit. That will all come. Like I understand in the UK you'll see it because they'll push Muslims and Christians to fight each other in the street. And there'll be, types that are like, all right, now we have to get serious. We need these Ant Middleton types. We need these Conor McGregor ideas, and we need to clamp down on the people. But it's not about that. That was all created. So that a lot of their surveillance and the Palantir ideas, you will be like, please save us. And it's not to do that. How different is it living with foreigners than your home country? It's very different. That's what people don't tell you. It's very different to be around people when you've been not around their culture ever. It's their culture and it's their country and good for that, but it's very different. When you're used to being in a very different spot. And if you're talking about Dubai is a great spot. It's a great spot to work. It's very consistent. The banking and things are very good. the systems and things are in place. It's very like it's friction free. The banking, the residency, the uh, setting up every day can be the same in that it's secure, it's predictable. It's which is all great for work. The clubs and things, the club scenes and things, in my view, like they're there if you want them, but it's to be determined whether you like it or not. Bringing women, I'll tell you guys a secret. If you ever bring women to Dubai, like if you bring a girl to Dubai that you like, the relationship is mostly dead. Because Dubai, it's like 7 or 8 guys for 3 girls. So it's like a 2.5 to 1 ratio of dudes to women. And I'm talking about foreigners. I'm not talking about locals because I don't really know about that sort of thing. But it's a bad process for women. That sort of an idea. Like there's a lot of consumerism. There's a lot of guys running around, and like if you leave your chick in the mall for 5 minutes, there's guys just running up asking if they can buy her shit. That's like that's real. Specifically, if she's like a white chick that's even like girls come here as a 6 and then they're an 8 immediately. It's the truth. Like that stuff is very true. There's a lot of simping, like simping that would make Australia or something look. I couldn't compare. Like the simping is absolutely wild. I remember once I had a chick and I brought her to Dubai and we went. She was in Dubai Mall, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to get my hair cut. I'll come back." First time that I'd really been here, I didn't know that she was Ukrainian. This was a couple of years ago, and she's hot. And then I get my hair cut. I come back, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this guy asked me," and like he was like, she's like, I got stopped for photos like 8 times. Guys asking her if they can get a photo with her, like she's fucking Megan Fox or something like that. Consistently, like that happens often. One, and then another, she's like, "Yeah, guys were asking if they could just take me to Louis Vuitton or something, and they would buy me something if I just hung out with them." And I'm like, and then guys were asking her for a photo and like all this shit. I'm like, you can't reprogram that. Like if you have a girl and you take her to an area where it's full of thirst, you're in big trouble. You're not the man anymore. Like you're not the man anymore when you take a chick around and it's like 10 to 1 ratio. Like that is a bad decision. Like that's a bad move. So that's an idea and something that I've really observed. I've been with like 3 girls to Dubai before in my life, and I don't not with all 3 of them since then. And I've heard it with other guys, girls too, where they come and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm the hottest girl in this place," and then you look around and you're like, it's probably true because a lot of the girls are fucking old. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty true. It's problematic. It's like anything. Like if you take your chick around Ukraine or something like that, I mean, it's normal to be around Ukrainians that are hot, right? But if you take her to a country where it's not there, like a massively rare, that's a bad decision for you. Like women in Dubai, they have the complete say. Like if you're there's 3 of you to 1 woman, like who do you think that has the say? Like it's simple supply and demand economics. And that sort of an idea can be really distorting for women. But for work and things like that, it's amazing. It's an amazing spot. That's why though. It's really good, but it's a great spot to lock in for actually focusing on work and things like that. And I would assume though that the imbalance over time will even out. But at the moment, there's an imbalance of that sort of thing. Can we invest in your crypto projects? I don't know if I'll take investors for Soul State because I already have funded it myself. I funded it, I don't know, like 400 or 500K so far, dollars. Costs me every week that we build Soul Stake, it's like another $20,000. It's not finished yet. The back end is probably, I don't know, like 80% or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe we'll take probably, I guess, take funding at some point. Maybe Breakpoint or something. I think a few weeks from now. But Soul Stake will be a massive platform. So funding is, I think that it won't be such a hard thing to get. We have a lot of I don't want to spoil it for everyone, because I don't really want to talk about it until the MVP is ready. Because everyone just talks about crypto projects and their projects are just shit. Like they haven't built anything. I'm talking about a meme, and all we did was just deploy a contract on Pump Fund. Like that's the nothing. I'm talking about a revenue platform, and you have to see it. But yeah, it's a creative platform or creator platform, and it can kind of do everything. It's decentralized, but it's also able to be censored. Unfortunately, it's part of it. Otherwise, people could do really crazy shit on the platform. But it's a mixture, I guess you would say, of like kick stake, and then it can also have essentially 18 plus content on there if you would want. So I mean that some people will look in and it's PG on the front end, and then it just goes as far as that they would want to go. It's just a creator platform for all creators. It's I think it's good because creators can actually take back some of the control and not be as like they can control their brand and not have to, there's not as many middlemen. They can get paid via essentially you earn tokens to produce content. And then you can cash out immediately and take it out in Solana tokens, like Solana itself. You don't have to middleman through the bank. The fees are less. We're looking at, I think, like 5% for fees for anything anyone receives. I believe that what's YouTube, like if you get a super chat on here, I think it's like 20 or 30% of some bullshit. Then you have to go through the bank. Like that's a nightmare. That's a good question. It's predominantly at the moment it will be live stream because otherwise it's too hard to like keep up with, and it's going to be limited in the amount of streamers because if you were to run it, I don't think we're using live bit. I think we're using something similar, but you have to pay per streamer that's on there. So it'll be limited at first in how many people can go on there, and then I believe that it'll be more unlimited over time. And I think it's kind of like you see on Kick. That's a similar idea. Like it's quite similar to that. I guess it would be a mixture of the three of them: Kick, Stake, and then I guess YouTube probably. But there can also be. I don't want to say on here because people will get butthurt, but 18 plus content will be on there as well. Like if you want to do KYC and actually want to go into that content, then you can. Because I also don't really believe, in my view, I'm not big on censorship. Like creators can do whatever they want. It doesn't really worry me. It's not for me to be watching it. But if you want to do it, I mean, it's your business to do it. But they're not going to be fucking and things like that. But yeah, the investments will be open at some point, but we'll have to see. I'm waiting to. I don't really want to talk about it so much till we have a pitch. Not even a pitch, but MVP yet, which is not far. It's actually not far away. I have Breakpoint, so I'll be there. So if anyone's at Dubai blockchain week, let me know. And because I'll be there. Do you think there'll be a massive drawdown in crypto end of next year? No, end of next year? No, I don't think so. I think that there'll be a massive top before Trump, the elections are, because I think that what will happen is a lot of the Democrats and things like that, they'll be like, a lot of these executive crypto orders, we're going to bin them all. So then people, even if people just get afraid of that idea that it might be possible, then that will scare the market a lot and probably form a large top, which would coincide with QE anyway. Like QE will only run for like 2 years or something. But it might run longer. I mean, these ideas, like when they say, oh, we're launching a Manhattan Project equivalent, you need to see what happened during the Manhattan Project. But they are launching a Manhattan Project equivalent, but their project may be the last one. Like this Genesis idea may be the last one. The Genesis idea, you can understand it because they're creating a fake reality. The lattice exists in that it's God made, and they'll form a lattice can be a essentially like a data center, right? So you have a BCI, and your reality is projected to you, and your conscience and all that is projected to you artificially. It's the same. If you already think about it, you already have a BCI. Like you already have a BCI, which is your brain, but it's not limited to the physical. Like you have a conscience that's again, in my view, it's their pings from God. But you have a conscience and things that it's God made, whether you believe it's God made or not. It's not made by man. Like man didn't make you, but this BCI, like brain computer interface, and these data centers, and and these sort of ideas that they're pushing about, and AI, and we can go into more of a virtual world, and they can kind of program you through that. And that's all artificial, but that's easy to be controlled. Like that can be controlled by one centralized figure. They can't control you via that. Like they can't stop you right now if you turn everything off and you just walk around and things like that. Like your communication and your prayers and things like that. You're not praying to man here, but if you were to have a BCI and other things like that, then it's more like it's artificial again. Not just artificial food. Like you're almost pushing into artificial thoughts, like groupthink for real, like a consciousness or a collective consciousness that actually push through everyone. They're projecting into your conscious, like that sort of idea. Like in dreams and things like that, you can have kind of, I guess, like simulated dreams and things. Because what we were finding with EEG, even when we are doing crypto mind, is that there's a lot of stuff, like a lot of data and like dream data and things like that. It's actually more valuable than people believe. There's a lot of studies going on with that sort of information, that sort of technology, and I guess kind of Neuralink and things would have to access a lot of that data. But all of that stuff is ultra valuable, specifically in the future. But yeah, I can do a day in the life. I think that I'll do a vlog from Blockchain Week. Yeah, I've heard of the DMT laser experiment where they shine the laser on the wall or something, and then they say that they can see the like the hologram, something of the kind of the matrix buildup, they believe. I wouldn't be surprised. I've taken DMT before. Twice. The last time I took DMT was pretty crazy. I took DMT with a few friends of mine, and I smoked it, and then I smoked it again. This is years ago, and then I smoked it again, and I felt like I shot up. So I shot up from this earth where I was, like a rocket, and then I felt this big hand just grab me, and then essentially held me like this, and then said, "Stop fucking around with DMT. Stop fucking around with these people. This is serious shit. Stop joking around." And then it said, "One day, like you'll come back and you'll do it properly, but not now." And then threw me back into my body, and then I was awake instantly. And it had been like 10 seconds, and I was completely sober. And I stood up after, and people were just looking at me like, "Whoa, what the fuck happened?" I was immediately sober. It's crazy stuff, that shit. There's a lot of stuff that we don't understand with that sort of shit. Like this, I think what Conor McGregor did, a boga or whatever. A boga is heavy stuff. Like it's not for the faint of heart. And remote viewing is real. I believe it's real. Yeah, I think that it's real. Remote viewing is just it's a feeling. Like it's a feeling, and then they kind of already know, and then they delve into it within themselves. Like people don't see this idea of like I left my body and I can envision all of this. It's not that. It's that everything is connected, and if you can connect yourself to something like that, they can actually view it. It's not that they've like flew out of their body and flew across the planet. Now they're like looking in and being like, "Oh, it's like I'm here." It's not that. It's that everything's connected, and those people who are ultra empathetic, often that's what you would realize they have a massive. A lot of them have that same characteristic maxed out. They can put themselves in another situation, and then people like, oh, they can kind of get disconnected from their body. They can, because they can almost move into another person's body by feeling what it is that they would feel. But I imagine that if you were to meet the people that do it, I imagine that they would be quite fucked up. Like a lot of the guys, again, like it's not so different to you meet, like you see the Musks, you see the Altmans, you see like that. Do you think that they're not really fucked up people? Like if you were to spend any time with them, do you think that you wouldn't think that they're fucking weird? Like really weird, not just a little bit. They're taking a lot of drugs and shit. Like that's obvious. You need to look up like the Elon Musk's ketamine ideas and things like that. When a person dies, they have 7 minutes of brain activity. It's the mind playing back the person's memories in a dream sequence. I can't be to be determined. I've heard that story. I've heard that they say that you lose a certain amount of weight, right, after you die, and they could say that it's your spirit or something. I don't know enough about it. But I mean, I understand the dimethyltryptamine, right? That's what they say, the DMT release on death. DMT release on death is different to DMT that you're given. See, it's the same idea. Testosterone that you're given in injections is different to the pulses that your body makes. They make it so that it can essentially sits, can bind it like what the atom level, like it can actually reach a receptor. So the process is different. It's not the same process as natural. DMT is the same. DMT, I believe, is how you can jump timelines. I think that what happens if you're to die a death before your time, you haven't done everything that you're here to do. You just jump timelines, and then it's as though you didn't actually die in that moment. You're like, oh wow, the bus missed me, or this happened, or like I survived with just a broken leg. It's not that you were actually likely died in another timeline, but you got jumped because the DMT it happens instantly. I think that they're trying to recreate it with CERN as well, like that same charge that happens on death. I think it's the same thing. I think at CERN, it's probably likely that they're actually trying to jump us out of it into a different timeline. Probably the final form. Everything probably happens at once. You're like, what? Why are they doing all of these processes? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then this Genesis project plays out, and then eventually it transcends into a hell here. I think all of that shit is probably true. Like they're probably trying to jump us into a period where it actually becomes hell here. Do I think humans have cracked time travel already? I don't think it's cracked in that they can sit here and go forward like thousands of years in time, but I think that they can pull information from the future because I think everything already exists at once. I think certain people already know that. I think that stuff is probably true. Entities giving people like Altman and then ideas to build tech when yes, I would believe that's very true. Altman's come out and said that he takes low dose sleeping pills at night. Low dose, though. So I believe that they shut the conscious off and then they sit and they dwell in the subconscious. But there's something there. I know it sounds for like weird to say, but there's something that happens with those like people that are gay. Like a lot of the revolutionaries, like the groundbreakers in tech, are gay. Steve Jobs, people like he wasn't, but in my view, he was. Altman, he's clearly a gay man. Peter Thiel, I think that is he gay? I believe these people have like husbands. Something is happening, like it's pretty obvious. There's something happens down that specific group as well. That's not an accident. Like that again, like not revolutionaries, but visionaries are actually homos. It's not happening by just like there's too the statistics don't add up. Like it's too unlikely such an idea. There's something that happens in that process. I don't know how to explain it or something. It would be to be argued that it might actually be a closer position to like Lucifer or something. Something happens in their process that gives them access to certain information. I would believe that's very likely true. It's not it's too unlikely. Like the ads don't add up. Like it does, the likelihood is too low. That so many, because it's not just like people will be like, oh yeah, they're just put in because they're diversity hires, but they're not. Like it's obvious when they speak, they know a lot of shit that's very difficult to know. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Peter Thiel talk, Altman talk. They're weird. They're definitely fucking weird. But the interesting thing with Peter Thiel when he speaks is he's like when he says they ask him questions, should humanity exist as it is, and he pauses and kind of, I don't know. They can't break that one universal law. Like they can't stand there and be like, no, humans are perfect and all of this. They have to tell the truth. That's what's really fascinating. Like they actually have to tell their truth. They have such a strong grip on reality and it's to be determined if they're bad. Like they're only bad from our lens. From their lens, they're probably not. Like their lifestyle, they're just trying to push their vision into the world. And their vision of someone like them, their lifestyle is obviously incredibly different to ours. So they're trying to push their vision out. But their vision is another one, like they're in alignment. They're in their version of alignment because they don't bullshit about what it is that they're doing. They're pretty transparent about it. Also, that other dude, fucking what's his name? The other Palantir guy. He's He's weird as well. He seems autistic. I don't know which one. The guy who's what does he talk about? He's just the one that talks a lot, and he's really bad PR, but he looks like a genius as well. And he's another like again, but they're massive surveillance guys. Like they're dangerous people. I know it doesn't it doesn't really seem like they are. You know, it seems risky to talk about certain people, but there are people that you can't really talk too much shit about because they have a lot of power. People like that do. It's a weird thing. Like guys see like guys like Zuckerberg and things like that. And I remember seeing some red pill dweebs be like, yeah, these guys aren't high value. If they wanted to get rid of you tomorrow, you would be gone. Like they have a lot of pull. And not just that, they have a lot of pull with government. They have a lot of data. So if they don't like certain people, they're gone. Like for real. You sit in jail for the rest of your life or other shit for no crime. Like they can just get rid of you if they don't like you. Yeah, that's the guy. That Alex Carp, yeah. He's weird. Like he's definitely ultra weird. But again, these are the guys that are building out the essential tech and things that are going to change your whole life. So you have to like some people don't even watch anything that they've ever done. I don't really watch it. I'll say that I'm that person as well because I don't really watch shit that they've done either. But I know that the message and things that they're trying to push through, like I'm very aware of it, and also they will get it through. But there's something happening there that's very like it's obviously ultra unusual. Like you get a lot of the heads of those companies, and not just the heads, but like they're actually the intellectuals of that and the thought idea guys, like the innovative guys, the Jobs, the guys like that. Like they're weird. Jobs not as much because he still was a good talker. Like he still could jump on and speak and things like that. But some of the others aren't. But also, what's interesting because some of the others are such bad talkers that also they don't bullshit. Like, but that's real power. Like that when Tier or someone like that says that they don't really think that humans should live on, that's power. Like they're still pushing forward. Who's finding those ideas? Like I'm going to do a 8-part series on the Antichrist. I run Palantir, and no one can stop that. That's scary. We need to advance the advancements of AI, or the Antichrist will come. They just look weird. Like they're looking more and more like lizard people. I don't want to stand here and tell the people like that what's his name is right. That David Icke is it or something like that. But they're looking more and more that way. They look more and more like Spock every day. They don't look right. Like Altman and that. They don't look right. Something is wrong. Like something is wrong with Altman. Something is wrong with Thiel. Something is wrong with Zuckerberg. Something is wrong with Alex Carp. Maybe not as much. But there's many things that are wrong with those people. Like something is wrong on a human level. Like when you sit there and see them speak, something is missing. Something really strange is going on there. Like something is really off. And you got to see that's the best presentation they could do because they did it on a podcast. Imagine what they're like walking around. Like that's rehearsed. They had to prepare to be kind of normal. Something's coming out though. Like when you see them, it doesn't look right. Like they almost don't look human anymore. Like something is fucking very wrong in that regard. Like something is coming out when they sit there and talk. But they still talk, I believe, because also that exists of the balance idea. Like they have to tell you the game they're playing. They have to present. Otherwise, they shouldn't. Like they shouldn't be doing any. They shouldn't be doing any PR talks. It doesn't help their case. Like that's the front. Yeah, exactly. That's the front end. Like we're presenting this on the front end after a lot of like planning. Imagine how they are in their day to day. Like that's like hair and makeup and all of this, and they still look fucking strange. Like something's really wrong with them. That's with makeup, hair, cameras, lighting, all of that. Imagine how they're walking around. Something's coming out of them. I don't know what it is. I don't want to speculate, but something is very wrong with those people. I don't want to say that they're not human because I don't know for sure, but something really strange is happening there. I don't want to say lizard people or something because I don't want to go down the David Icke route and be like completely nuts. But something is very off. They're not of the same structure that we are. whether it's that they're moving down a funnel and something is changing via, I don't know, certain things that they're taking. I don't know for sure, but something is different. Something is wrong with those specific people. But also, it's hard to say that something is wrong with them because they're operating on a level that others aren't. But maybe how they're operating on their level that others aren't is also the part of what's they're looking more inhuman all of the time. Let's just say that, in my view. My girl who doesn't watch any bullshit, who doesn't know anything about things like that, recently told me that she feels something big will happen soon. That's what she feels. Yeah, I think March 30. I have an idea for March 30. I don't want to go too far into it, but I think that something big will happen on that day. I had a dream, and I don't want to go too far into it, but I believe it's true. Something will happen that I don't want to say will rival COVID, but it'll be quite high. Something really wrong will happen, I would believe, in the next few months. Something will happen in the next few months. I don't know exactly what it will be, but something also, because remember that we entered quantitative tightening July 2019. Yes, something. Yes, 30th to the 3rd. Those magical numbers, right? Something will happen on that day. I don't know exactly what, but something bad. But yeah, that's the idea. I don't think numbers guy. I'm not a big fan. Yeah, something is wrong on March 30. I don't know exactly what. I don't want to jump on and scare people or something like that. But something is very wrong on that day. I don't know exactly what it is. Come to me in a dream, which is generally where the source comes in. But I don't know exactly what it is. Another thing come to me in a dream as well that this so this hall and this ballroom that essentially ballroom like a ballroom, right? So this Trump build out that they're doing is not actually that they're replicating the third temple, and it will be to be determined whether that's the case. But I believe that it is. There won't be another election in the US as we know it. Like that that's going to change. A lot of stuff is going to change in the next few years. Unfortunately, though, it will likely change off the back of a lot of violence. But what can happen, like if you're in the UK and places like that, I don't want to, scare people and things like that, but you should know what it is that's going to come. Like if you don't see the streets and you don't see how they're prepped and you don't see how people are packed and like people who are kind of, it doesn't take much to stir people up from this point. People are tired. That's the thing. Like in Ireland, places like that, people are sick of it. Like people are over it. All it takes is essentially one point where we've got these mayors in, we've got these people in that were essentially causing the problem. We've got enough people in now. Now we need to flip the script, and then we start publishing on TV that these people are actually forming grape gangs and a bunch of shit like that, and then people will be like, finally, and then they can go and start lynching them or something, and then there'll be a massive kind of not a civil war, but there'll be a big problem. And then that's the idea, though, because you have digital IDs and you have a bunch of systems and Palantir tech and ideas that you need to get in. Well, then that's their perfect breeding ground. That's what they want. So they created the very problem that they're going to come to solve via more surveillance. Like, understand that with immigration, they let them in intentionally. Like, that was deliberate. They're all fighting age guys. Like, how many women were brought in? Zero. I've never seen any of them. And not only what annoys me is they destroyed the ratio. Like, they really killed it. Like, they're bringing a bunch of fucking dudes whose time is mostly invaluable, so they can just sit around and fucking DM chicks all day. They destroyed that for me. How would you maintain getting your soul to heaven if expected to pass away around the year 2100? I mean, I don't know why you would expect to pass away in the year 2100. What the fuck is that? That's very far away. Can you imagine the world by the year 2100? On what planet? I mean, I can't imagine the world going that long. Like how is it to exist in such a time frame? Like 2100, the boot would be on the back of your head, pushed into the floor. You won't be able to take a piss without permission. Like that will be within 20 years. Will it be like the Hunger Games, like different districts in a surveillance state? Yes, districts are coming because districts will come. That's what they want. Districts and lack of movement will come, and that's intentional. Like that's what they need. They need a lack of movement, and they also need because a lot of people are to be displaced and unemployed. They need like these ideas of we need riots so that then we can crank down and be like, it's too dangerous. We have to keep people in districts now. And how are they going to do that? They don't have enough police and they don't have enough military and things like that. But in my view, what they'll do, so in places like the Euro and things like that, they're telling people that Russia is to be in a war. See, this is the beauty of it. I'll tell you guys the playbook. We convince you that there's a war with Russia, but there isn't. That will never happen. But we take on soldiers and we realize that the Germans and that, they don't want to join the army. They're sick of it. Like, I don't want to. But then now we have a bunch of illegal immigrants in, and we'll let them join. And the Germans and things like that are like, yeah, okay, if he wants to fight Russia and he comes back fine, then that's okay. But the war will never happen because it's not actually on the cards. But they'll train that guy up and he'll guard you. That's the like actually a giant fetish of the people that are in power is like immigrants guarding white people. That's a fetish, like that. Legitimately, that is, and that will come. You will live to see a time where you're sitting in your house and someone can come in who's not like you, an immigrant, and they can come in your house and monitor what it is that you're up to and leave. Because they're the perfect, like one specific or one or two specific denominations of people. They're the perfect, like, they're very, like, malleable in that, but also lacking of any ethics and morals, like one or two specific denominations of people. And they can push them into directions that will monitor you. And a lot of bad shit will happen when they're in your house. Like a lot of bad shit will happen when they can come in and just fuck around. Because it won't be just guys like you're an Australian and then Australian guys come in and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to beat the shit out of you because you're Australian, or I'm not going to touch your wife because you're Australian. They won't be Australian. And they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, well, no one's monitoring what it is that I do. This guy's like a fucking UBI problem. He's got bad social credit. Who's going to listen to him anyway? I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah, that's the thing with US that's a good thing is that they still have weapons. Australia got cucked when that Martin Bryant fiasco happened and then they gave all their firearms away. And the UK got cucked when a lot of the gangs and, the actual gangsters and things like that got disbanded. See, in the Australia, it's the same. Like they convinced you guys that the bikies were bad guys because the bikies and things were actually a group that would stand up against people. If people were bikies are more bad for bikies, like they fight each other, but there's kids and things still go to the local schools. So they won't just like, it's my community, so I'm just going to see old women get pushed over. It's not like that. Because then you think, oh, my mum's in that community. She might get pushed over. Let's go fuck this person up. But then people got convinced that those were actually the bad guys doing a bunch of bullshit. And some of them were. But that was intentional. Like if you run a gang, and I mean, I've known a lot of people who run big gangs. But if you run it and they actually get rid of the top guys, then the group is in shambles. You need leadership. Leadership stops a lot of the bullshit because they discipline their own. If there is something happens, if they beat up a civilian or they're taking too much drugs or they're, doing shit that's immoral and also makes the group look bad, that's the more important. Then they get monitored and sorted out by their own people. But then when you get rid of the leadership, no one's in charge. Like no one's in charge anymore. They do that with ISIS. Like they go over there and they kill the top guys, and everyone's fighting for leadership. And then also morale, not just morale, but like their discipline gets really shit because they're like, oh, well, and then civilians start getting hurt. And then the government sits back and they're like, see, we told you guys that these guys were all fucked. Like the bikies and things, it's like they had the top guys, and then the ones that they were running around saying they were the top guys were like fucking 100 down. The group had been completely dismantled. A lot of the guys had left that country. A lot of guys are still on the run in different countries. But then people realized, like, again, that they weren't necessarily bad. A lot of them are just Australian guys that had got together. The idea of the bikies is not a bad thing because a lot of them before then, before the 1% ideas and things, a lot of them weren't even actually like proper criminals. And even now that they were back then, they weren't either. A lot of them, again, used to ride bikes. Like the guy was a bikie because he rode motorbikes. A lot of the new ages, this guy can't even fucking sit on a bike. Like the idea was completely crushed. You're in a motorbike gang, but you can't even ride a bike. Like, the idea had gotten so distorted because, again, a lot of the leadership and things like that, they had dismantled them. Gangs and mafias is not a bad thing. It's not a bad. It's a bad thing in certain countries that don't need it. Like you're in UAE, it's very safe. They don't need this sort of stuff. They have a lot of policing. They have surveillance. They have their country locked down, which is fine. But in certain countries like the UK and things like that, are you really better today than you were like 20 or 30 years ago when they used to have a lot of there were a lot of gangs in London. Like there were a lot of gangsters over there, a lot. And I'm sure that they still exist, but a lot of them will have moved to other countries because the police and things were giving them too hard of a time, saying that they'll lock them up forever. And then sending them off to prison and they fight in prison and shit like that as well. You were better off with the mafia. Like Italy, I saw some news from yesterday or something that a guy was sitting in his car with his girlfriend, and then 3 guys grabbed him in his car, held him down, and raped his girl in front of him. Like, are you really better today? Like 3 Moroccan dudes? Are you really better today than you were when there was a mafia? Like, do you think that would have ever happened to Italians? The groups would have got together and gone and smashed everyone. Like that shit used to happen. That shit used to happen in Australia. I remember once in Australia, so I was in Queensland, and a group, I'm not going to say exactly what group because it will upset people, but a group, so a new gang had tried to come over to Queensland and tried to make it over there from it. I'm not going to say exactly what island country near Australia. And so it had come to Queensland. And then guys that I knew, they realized that they were trying to start like a little small group of an overseas group that had come to Queensland. They were starting to try to take certain areas over. And the guys just get together and just will kill someone if they have to. That's starting out that sort of an idea. Because it's their area. Like, you're not from there. Like, you can't just move in and do shit in that sort of a division. That's the thing, though. But if it's for civilians or things like that, they don't care. Like, no one who's in the mafia or something, they don't give a shit what you do as long as you don't try to do anything that they do. You might have to pay rent in those countries to, run a shop. So someone's running a shop and, they pay 10% for a protection racket or something like that. But are you really better off now? Like in the old days, the police is like, oh, don't pay these guys protection and that, we'll protect you. But are you really better off now? Like, they were better off when they were just paying a small amount of protection to, make sure this is a protected shop. Anyone who comes in and fucks around, we'll smash them. Like, after, we'll find them and fuck them up. So people knew not to come into that person's shop and fuck around, steal shit, goof off in there, because they just get on the phone. This is a protected store. Like, you can't come in and fuck around here. People know that. Whereas now, people just come in and shoplift. Your premiums are fucking, that 10% is through the roof. If you're trying to run a store, your insurance premiums go up 10% every single year. Forget paying 10% for protection. That worked. That system did work. But people look in and they're like, yeah, they get sold a lot of headlines. Like a headline they watch and they're like, the bikies are bad for some reason. And I'm not saying that they're all good or that they don't do bad shit as well, but also they do bad shit to women sometimes. But the women are with them and they know how they are. Like, yes, some guy might kill his girlfriend from time to time. That can happen in that sort of groups and things. But that lifestyle, that happens anyway. You just don't hear about it. But the girl knows what she's in for. Like, if a girl gets with a gangster, the idea that she knows what she's in for, like, it doesn't just happen for no reason. It's not like they force people to get with them and things like that, or that they're running around raping people or something. They don't do that. So in my view, If a girl is with someone and she knows that he's a criminal, then and then he beats her up or something, like she's there, she knows what she was in for. I'm not saying that they all do it, but it certainly more happens more times than not. I'm with a violent person and it's funny, but then suddenly they're violent to me and I'm like, whoa, what happened? You know what you're in for. And all of that stuff, again, those sort of girls and things like that, a lot of them, they like the idea of that when it suits them and then they try and pull away from it because they don't realize, like a lot of women, a lot of girls in Oz and things like that, they're like actually like just prozzies and they think that they're like gangsters for some reason because they sucked some guy's cock who was in a club. That doesn't mean anything. Like the girl thinks that she has all of this support for some reason. Doesn't mean shit. And then the girl will often just have a big mouth. Like a lot of Aussie girls and things like that, they have a really big mouth. They talk a lot of bullshit. Like they just talk. Like they talk and they don't realize what it is that they're saying because there's nothing behind it. Like they're just yapping. They expect that like they've never ever done anything in their whole life, but they think that like just because they speak that something will happen. A lot of girls think of the same like the US chicks, and I'm not saying black people in general because I don't have a problem with black people, but some of those like hood chicks, they have a big mouth as well. I can understand the idea, like I'm not saying all black guys, but some of them, their girls, I'm not saying all again, but some of them, their girls are some of the worst in the world. So when guys look in and they're like, why would some of them want to like, mix it? I can understand it. Not all of them. Some of them can be good, but some of them are fucking ratchet, like complete trash. Some of them have really big mouths. And some of them also, it's the same idea. Like they really act like men. They think that they can fight and all of this crap, but most of them have never been in a fight their whole life. The worst thing with women is too, like a lot of those chicks, they think that they can hit guys or like yell at them or something like that because some guy hasn't just hit them back yet. But eventually it will happen. And then when it happens, they're like, oh, I want to go to the police. The person who hits first is wrong. Like if a chick hits you and, hits you, it's your decision if you hit her back, but you can if you want. But you shouldn't hit back with like, trying to give like 100% to hurt the person. But you should never let someone hit you in the head. That's yours to be determined if a chick pushes you or like, maybe she like smacks you on the shoulder or the chest or something. But if someone's hitting you in the head, it's your decision if you want to hit them back. But you're not less of a man if you like if a chick cracks you in the head and you slap in my view, you're not less of a man. Like only a fool would let someone just continually hit them. Also, others can look in and be like, this guy just got hit a bunch of times. I'm also going to hit him. Like women and some of those people, they only exist because you yourself have restraint. Like women yelling at men and things, they're only allowed to do that because men have restraint. But if man decided my restraint is gone, she would be thrown through the wall. Like that's a dumb way to be. Like some guys, again, with these UFC fighters and things, they provoke them. Some guy who's a civilian is like, Conor McGregor, like mouthing off to him in his face. You're only allowed to do that because he doesn't want to hit you. But if he wants to, there's nothing that you can do. Like you better have the gun or something. He's going to fuck you up. So again, those ideas are really dumb. But yeah, women in general, I'm not saying all because some of them are good, but a bad woman is a big liability. I've seen a bad woman get a dude killed once. I knew a guy who we went to a deal. I don't want to go so far into it, but he brought his chick with him, and she was at the deal, and she started like because I was at a meetup, and the guy owed money, and the guy owed money. I was there also, and his girl was really dismissive of him in front of other guys, and the guy also owed money. So he had his chick who wasn't on his side, and he also owed money to another guy. And then the guys are just like, I'm really like sick of this guy because it multiplied. Like women kind of put a halo around your head or, make you look like more of a villain. And then it was like, I don't know, like 2 weeks after that, the guy ended up getting murdered. Chick didn't help him. Like she actually multiplied his risk. Because also I think that so the guy already owed money. He was already people were angry at him, and then they realized that his chick doesn't respect him. So then they just portray that he's absolutely weak on top of it. And what's weak gets attacked. not left alone. Like in most cases, that's the truth of the matter. Women are, yeah, they can, but they can also be a great asset. But it's a hard thing. Also, if you have a chick where they're toxic, like that's the risk. Like some women now, they like anything that makes them feel something, even if the something that it is that makes them feel is like toxic, and they don't realize how bad things can go. Same thing of these girls who date gangsters or bikies or all of this. They love this games. Like, oh, he's mad at me and he's this and that and he's yep, we're arguing today. And then suddenly the dude just puts a bullet in her head. They don't know. Like the guy can just flip out suddenly. Like you're with a dangerous person. Some people that also they don't have a lot of they're not thinking very clear. Because a lot of gangs and things like that is in the old days, they used to watch when people took drugs, like it was a big thing. In the old days, even when I was, selling drugs, this is a long time ago. You weren't allowed to. I mean, in their groups, they weren't meant to take ice. Like they were never meant to take methamphetamine ever. To be using ice or to be anything to do with methamphetamine, they would be kicked out of the club, be kicked out of the gang. It was a big problem. Like, don't ever be. No one wants anyone to know that they take meth. So people would do it, but they would do it completely in private and silent. And it was really like it's a gutter drug. People would look in and be like, because people realize like people can sell their own mother for that shit eventually. Amphetamine is a dangerous funnel to fall down, specifically into ice and other things. It's very dangerous because it's also it alters your brain makeup. It makes you the delusions of grandeur, where you have very low empathy. You can get psychosis, like you can fall into psychosis quickly with amphetamine, much faster than coke or anything else. But so they realized that sort of shit, and then a lot of them were doing it in private. But now, like, there's no restraint, like there's no monitoring. People just can do shit openly, and then they just fall into a massive period of psychosis. Like it's a gutter drug, like amphetamine, any sort of meth, any ice, that's a gutter drug. Like you shouldn't take it. Your empathy is going to fall out the window. It alters your brain chemistry. It's very destructive. Like that's the truth. It's the shit that they used to give to what World War II soldiers so that they would go for days and do a bunch of atrocities. I'm not saying that I'm not getting on the side of what's good and bad, but it's not something that you should really be moving down. I don't know. People will look in and be like, "Oh, but Dexies or things like that." Dexies aren't the same. Like taking Adderall isn't the same as taking crystal meth. Like they're completely different. They're nothing the same. One is instant, especially smoking it. It's all about how rapidly it's absorbed as well. Like the more rapid an absorption, the more addiction qualities you're gonna have. I felt this way, and now I immediately have changed. That's very addictive. Yes, no, it's an intentional consequence. It's very intentional. That sort of idea. It's deliberate. The surveillance laws and things though that they pushed forward was that they ended up using on civilians, but the consorting laws and things they use on civilians now, like you can't consort in groups because then they can declare you like a criminal organization and shit like that. That's wild. Like I mean, I've known 100 bikies or something, and I've never known one in my eyes, and I would say that I believed was a national security threat. Most of them want to be left alone. Most of them just want to make money doing what it is that they do, but they don't hurt the average person. I mean, sometimes they might get a girlfriend and beat her up, but she's with him. They don't beat up civilians mostly, it'd be very rarely. Like most of them just want to be left alone and ride bikes and shit. But then again, when you dismantle them, they splinter out. But again, if like a gangster beats his chick up, it's not the same. Like people often they get like they're really conflated. They look in and they're like, I can't believe like this guy's doing this shit to it. She chose to be there. She knows who she's with. She knows that it was funny for a long period of time, and then suddenly now she's like, "Oh, I've had enough, and I'm going to go take a DVO and a bunch of bullshit." She knows it's not like he just met someone on the street and then started beating her up. It's the person who chose to be with him, these people, for an extended period of time. You can't be with someone who's a criminal, know that they're a criminal, profit off it, get shit, and then suddenly turn around and be like, I didn't know what I was in for." You knew exactly where you were, and in most cases, they're where they're actually deserved to be. If you're dating a scumbag and and I'm not saying that they all are, but some of them are, and you're dating a scumbag and you know he's a scumbag, you're also a scumbag. Like, that's the truth. Well, on what planet aren't you? You're enabling and encouraging the very behavior that's destroying society. But also, I don't believe that a lot of those bikies and things, they were scumbags, or that they are. I don't believe that's true. I think that they're a necessary group. As a mafia, most of them are necessary. A militia can also be necessary if the government things falls over. In places like UAE, they don't need it because it's very safe. Like, the rules are very clear. But is it safe walking around London? I'm not saying completely that it's not, but it's probably not that safe. I can't wear a nice watch there. And I'm not saying that I have the right to all of this shit, but again, like, do you want your mum badgered? Do you really want your sister or mother or fucking girlfriend? You don't have a lot of money, so they have to get the bus. Do you really want them badgered or, like, in a position where they're not safe? In a first world country, like, that shit, but that shit wouldn't happen in Dubai. Dubai, they have very strict laws of like, my mum has been here and she said that she's never felt safer in a country. They have very, very strict laws where you can't. It would be extremely uncommon that someone would take a kid or something like that. Like, I remember hearing a story that someone had done it like 8 years ago. A kid had gone missing and they were found, but it was a big, like, they still talking about it today. Someone had picked up someone's kid, and I don't know what happened to it or anything like that. I can't speculate, but it was a long time ago, and they're still talking about it as though it was a recent event, which means that that happens very rarely. So that's how safe it is that one crime is talked about, and as though it's that shit happens in Oz. I'm not saying all the time, but it's much more common. But again, a lot of that stuff is just the way that it goes. But also the bikie stuff, when, like, the bikies kill each other and things, or if they do whatever, it's not the same. Like, again, it's not the same as they're not running around hurting civilians. Like, the two gangs fight, it's not the same. I was in prison with guys from the murder, what is it, the alleged toolbox guys, where they were alleged to have put a guy in the toolbox and then thrown him in the fucking river with his chick or something, and they both drowned. There was an allegation. I think that they all got found guilty. But again, they weren't, even that wasn't to the average Joe. Like, that was over a drug debt. Stuff like that, again, it's not happening. In my view, crime is really bad when it happens to the average person. That's really bad. Like, someone walks across the street and gets attacked. I'm trying to get to work and I got raped. I saw something in Poland, was it some dude got raped? And I think it was in Germany as well. Like, it's getting out of hand. Like, some guy walking home drunk gets raped by a fucking random person. A guy. Like, what's happening? Like, what is going on? That to me is major crime. But again, if you're a criminal and something bad happens, that's like, you're in that business. Like, you knew what you were in for. It's not the same. But then they also try to push it to, like, normies look in and they're like, oh, we really need to cramp down. But why? Like, if two criminals fight each other, it's not the same. It doesn't matter the same. Like, people die that are in crime. It doesn't matter the same. You watch it and you're like, fuck, that could have been me, but it wouldn't have been you. Like, that was a planned hit. They organized it. It wouldn't have been you. You weren't the target of that. Just groups are fighting over, money and power and things. But again, they're not fighting to fight you. That's not their business. It's not what they would want to do. Of course, if you try to get into it, whatever it is that they're doing. But again, people stress about, like, I don't know, people are doing certain crime businesses in those countries and things. But if you're not involved, why do you give a shit? Those things will always exist. Yeah, certain nationalities in Dubai can be ogling. That's a big thing. But they do clamp down on it, I believe, because they know that they have to. Like, those ideas can get a lot of traction, so they have to clamp down on it. But they do, from what I've observed. Poland and Hungary leading the way. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I'm interested to see what happens out of that spot. I spent a lot of time in Poland. I like it. I'm interested to see what happens there. I think that it seems to be birthing into an economic powerhouse. And then hopefully, I think Hungary can do well too, but I don't think it's growing at the rate of Poland. Poland, I'll tell you guys an interesting story though. I don't want to crush your bubble because people can get upset and things like that, but I have to keep it real. Poland has taken the most money from the euro in like the last, is it 5 or 6 years, every single year. So understand that I don't want to crush your bubble because a lot of people they don't really know how the world works. So I imagine that you're essentially the euro, and the euro, most of it is funded by Germany. Germany has essentially just done what it is that they've done there, but they're playing another game out in Poland. Like something else will come that you haven't seen. Like I mean, you take the most money from the euro of any country year after year after year after year after year. What are they playing at? Like you think that they don't have strings? Like they just give you billions of dollars for no reason? They're playing a new game out there. I don't know exactly what it will be or what it will be to come. Maybe they actually are thinking that a war can come, and they think that Germany will just be the front end for an actual real war, and that they'll relocate back to pull back to Poland. That's possible. But you can bet if I've been giving you a bunch of money for the last few years, I got a lot of strings in that fucking cash. You don't have to take my immigrants because you're being labeled as a country that is based, but I'm paying you. So you can bet that any labels that you have is because I've chosen for you to have these labels. They're taking the most money from the euro of any country by a lot, again and again and again and again and again. Why are they getting so many grants if they're not taking citizens? Is it because they're actually playing a much longer game that we don't really know yet? But you can bet they got a lot of games that they're playing out of the euro at the moment. But understand, like, again, they think like in 10-year plans, like 20-year plans. It's the truth. Like a lot of that shit is very true. Poland is a good spot also, but the issue that the Polish will have is a lot of the foreigners will come in and push the prices of everything up, and they'll end up like, kind of stuck as a slave race. Like, what are they going to do about that? That's the problem. Like, I wouldn't want it for their country, and I hope that it doesn't happen. But I've seen it in Australia. It's happened to Australians. It's happened to us the same in Australia. They brought in a lot of foreigners who can pay more money than us in Australia, and we can make $1,000 a week. So how are they going to do it in Poland when the average person makes like 500 fucking, I don't know, a few $100s a week? If you're in Poland and you're being pushed out of the cities because you can't afford to rent there, because I come in and I work online and I make almost $1 million a year. How can you compete with that? Is it fair that you have a country and you're Polish, but I come in, I'm a foreigner, and I can, rent the best spots and you can't? I'm incentivized to come in and, but I work online. What if I don't hire any staff locally? What if I don't pay taxes locally? I rent all the best spots. I get the best girls. Can get all the best Polish girls. Is that really fair for you? It's not. But that's the problem. And that is a big problem because it demoralizes the local guys. And then if there's to be a war, I can just pack my shit and leave, and you're the one that's left fighting. That's a problem that can happen to, like look at Ukraine. Imagine Ukraine. You're a foreigner. You pull up in Ukraine. The guy to girl ratio, there's probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 chicks to one dude. Most of the guys are at war. A lot of the young guys who are, the young chads are going to be dead. You can pull up with money and just do whatever the fuck you want there as their locals are fighting a war. Is that fair? Like that's not really fair. That's the state of the world that we're in. It's very much that we're in a period like World War One, where a lot of the best dudes, I'm not saying the best, whatever, but the guys who are essentially like, trying to fight for the country because they're young. Like in Germany, where they're like, oh, we're doing conscriptions, but we're targeting 18 to 20-year-old men. Why do you think that they do that? Because they're trying to get the youthful reproducers out. That's the goal. Like that's the goal of wars. I know it doesn't seem like that, but that's the big goal. Kill the local populace and replace them. Whether they give you another war that you go to be goy fodder, that's to be determined. But that's possible as well. In Ukraine, Ukraine will never be the same. Like the Ukrainian men who are actually Ukrainian are being butchered. The reproducers are gone. So to be Ukrainian, a lot of them will be gone. So the ones that are left, they'll either be deserters that ran away and then come back, or they'll be, they won't be of the same bloodline. But it's a strange world though, right? Because you know what you know. If you're a Ukrainian and you see how the world really is, I see a lot of their girls running around Dubai while their guys are being killed. Would you would you really want to fight a war there? Like, would you really want to? Do you think that there's really much in it? Like, if you get your leg blown off and you're like, okay, I managed to survive the war. Oh, well, hopefully I can get some military benefits. And then you come back to Kiev, your girl's being banged by a foreigner. You don't have shit. There's no benefits. The government's, dismantled. There's a new fucking new parliament in. You got no benefits. And then you're being bumped over by fucking people crowding into a bus in a couple of years' time when they flood in with shitters. You're walking on walking sticks and they don't even fund you to get new ones. A couple of years from now, they've forgotten you completely. The government collapsed that you know it, and now you're mostly unemployable. The same foreigners driving past your city in a Lambo with your chick, and you were the one that was fighting. Like, no one cares. You're telling your story about, I did this and this. No one gives a shit. Like, no one will even listen to you. No one gives a single fuck what it is that you're talking about. Like, your story is unrelatable. No one cares. And then the ones who ran away, they fly back in. They're back in their houses. They're back in their stuff. They're back in their shit. And you're looking in the mirror being like, what happened? Like, I've destroyed my life fighting for my country, and no one gives a shit. That will be a big problem. That will be a problem in Ukraine after the war, is that people will come back, soldiers that aren't idiots. They'll be actually well-trained and well-bled. And they'll be like, who are these foreign fucking crypto nerds running around? I'm going to ransom a bunch of them. I would imagine that will happen. Because they'll actually be very elitely trained soldiers. They'll be very well-trained ones coming back from the war. And they'll be like, I don't have shit. My whole battalion and group don't have anything. Oh, well, these foreigners driving around in Lambos, let's start taking their shit. I would believe that's very likely what will happen. And then also they'll figure out a way to, the people who fled the war, the ones who left, they'll take their shit. That will come. They'll pass some new laws or something after the war happens that they were pussies and this and that, and then they'll start stealing their shit. That will happen. It's all the same thing. Like in Jealous, as I say, drugs, when drugs come in the unit, everyone's happy, everyone's on top of the world, there's heaps of shit, everyone's best friends. It's like that now. All of the relief money is in, everything's great. But once it dries up and once the war ends and everyone's upset and we got to fund these programs, we've got a lot of broken people, there's a lot of fucked up, angry people here. Get me out of the country because I don't want to fund any of this, and I want to take these suitcases of cash that I got. Where am I going to live? And then also you have like the US and things like that looking in, being like, these people can't tell the stories of any of these like laundering ops that we've done. We got to start putting hits out on half the people that are, that have left the country. And that's what they'll do. A lot of people that profited off that, you won't hear about it, but they'll be gone in a few years. Like, they'll be gone. Because they have to. Like, no, they don't want any loose ends. They don't want any looking into what happened there. So, I mean, it's like that Kash Patel and things like that. Like, people look in. Do you think that he has like a very good future ahead of him? I wouldn't hope. It's not something that I would want. But like, what do you think that they give people jobs like that for? They give it to an incompetent person because no one will believe it when he comes out and says, I was mismanaged, like I was put in over my head. They'll turn on him in a fucking dime. That's a job that you'd look at. When you look at the Epstein files and things like that, they're files you look at and you know that 5 or 10 years from now, you're dead. It's true. Like, look at that Anthony Weiner's laptop. What the ones, like, is it 3/4 or more of the cops that saw it are dead? They said like it was at 9 or 10 police officers saw that laptop and they committed suicide. Like, there are things that you look at and you're finished. Like there are certain secrets of the universe that if you're, or essentially the world here, if you're to find out, your time is over. Cash Patel is another one that's, you can't look at, there's certain information that you know that's now ultra risky. That's why when presidents in the US and things finish their role, they just act senile, or they actually become senile, or they're medicated, or they die, because they don't want them to turn around later and be like, uh, all this shit happened on my watch. Like this is the shit that I saw. It's all manicured. Like it's all, you do your role and then your time is over. That's why they get them so old. Like that's why they run them in so late. Because then if they're to turn around and they're like, I'm 90 years old, this is what happened, no one will believe them. One, and they can also just get rid of them when they want. That's a job that you do and then you're gone after your reign runs out. Yes, I would believe so. It's very true. I would believe so. He's certainly the only free thinking one, as apparent by his death. Unfortunately, like it's like anything, the truth tellers to be gone, shadow banned, muted, killed, and the ones who are promoted are only promoted for a very specific reason. It's unfortunate. Like I wish that it wasn't the case, but it's the truth. Like too many, the same group owns all of the everything. YouTube, Rumble, all of the platforms. Like somebody thinks that Rumble is free for some reason, and they have done zero research on Chris Pavlovsky, who owns Rumble. Like it's the same group. It's the illusion of choice. Like it's the illusion of choice. That sort of stuff. It's the truth. Like again, I could present you two choices, and you pick one, but I own both. One I might own more than the other. Like one I might only have, I own the platforms and things that they're on. But again, I still own them because I know that at some point, if I really am sick of them, I can just shadow ban them and mute them and ban them on all of the platforms if I want. Ban them from banking. I think that it's possible. I think it's possible. Good men might not live as long. But I also believe, what I believe is that you can't die until you're meant to. Like quantum immortality is real. You don't realize that, I think, until you're much older. Like nothing happens, and then you actually get more confidence behind you. But yeah, there are certain ideas and certain things that if you're to get too far into, that you can be specifically wiped out, or at least suffering. See, it's not wiped out so much that maybe you don't get shot, but you might run into big problems with social credit. And social credit to become forward. Maybe you can't get banking. Maybe you can't get residency. Maybe you can't get, you can't access services. You might not be able to access a lease because you're a troublemaker. You're being listed that you have problems with one specific group that you really can't have vocal, loud problems with. Thoughts and age verification. It's not, yeah, it's true. I mean, it's a coming out. It's not about verifying ages. It's about verifying IDs under the guise of worrying about kids. No one cares about kids. Like I don't want to be the one that tells people that, specifically in politics and things like that. Kids are actually the ones that a lot of things are after. A lot of the final moves towards a point where they're always after your kids, like at the highest end. The idea of what is it Lucifer, where the photo or the video or the classic of they're hugging his leg or whatever. The two kids, they're the ones that he's focused on, because it's the truth. They want the youth, the most innocent. Anyone who runs these like Roblox and things like that has a lot of power, because you have the ears of the youth. Tate has a lot of power, is another one, because he has a real world. A lot of those people who have the ears of because also if you're from a consumer lens, then you get them for life. If I can impact you when you're like 10 years old, then I have you impacted forever. Versus if I can impact you when you're 50, I've already lost that 40 years that I could have had, using you as a product. I think Lucifer is real, but I have a theory that I think both exist within one person. I think that you have both Lucifer and essentially a piece of God within you. I'm not saying that you are or aren't, but it depends what side it is that you listen to. Yeah, both the ideas that come through you all of the time. And an idea is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, an idea and things. Some people have these like thoughts, or it could be a negative thought, it could be an intrusive thought. And it completely makes them think really low of themselves. Do you know I've walked around, I don't know, walked around the mall or something before, and I've had an idea. Oh, I would just imagine if I just knocked this person off the side or something. Or imagine if I just, this person talking, what if I just like smacked them in the mouth or something? An intrusive thought doesn't mean that you're going to act on it. It's what separates us from being animals. But it also doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Getting sick inside because of sick environment around, getting sick, leave for burnout and leave zooming out. Yeah, it's a true point. The environment, a lot of people's environment though is people. Like, again, what you are, what you eat also. So you should be, eating good and things like that, and trying to avoid as much artificial crap as you can. But, we're kinda lazy, like, I can be as well. We eat a lot of artificial shit because 'cause we're lazy also. It's easier, and then we look back and we're like, "Fuck, I probably like, what have I eaten that's real today?" Maybe half the food is real. And then later on, you might be like, I've only eaten, like, 10% of the food that was real, like, 90% was this pre-packed, genetically engineered crap." We forget. But also they lean into our laziness, unfortunately. I heard there's intrusive thoughts or entity trying to influence. It's very possible. But again, it's okay to feel it. Like, it's okay to feel what it is that comes up. It's what you do with it. It's what you do with it, like, it really is. And sometimes you do the wrong thing. Sometimes you might move the chicken, then I don't know, you like yell at her or something. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but also you can be a bad person in a moment and also still recover. What you do is not to be everything. Everyone can recover from things. And understand with some people, like some people will view you and you are actually a bad person. To them, you've done shit things. Some chicks you might have lied to, some chicks you might have cheated on, some chick you might have fucking called her a dumb bitch, someone you might have put her down a lot of times, or like been toxic with her and led to her being insecure. But in my view, it's like a numbers game. If you're shit to two people and 10 you treat well, but again, you're the villain in someone's story. Like, in someone's story, you're the bad guy. Like, from their lens, certainly you are, and that's fine because that's just the way that it is. Like, that's the way that life goes. Also, it's the older that you get, as you get more experience and things like that, I believe that that's when you have to be more careful with what it is that you do. If you're 20, you don't really know shit. Like, you're still learning. So I'm still running around and I can step on a bunch of flowers and shit because I don't know what I'm doing as much. But when you get older and now you're aware of it, then if you start still stepping on flowers, you get punished harsher. Basilisk ideas, this test that I believe is, it's essentially I believe it's like a gatekeeper of your highest self, and that you're presented a bunch of tests. That's why you can meet the same chick and how you act on it, and then you can fail that test and then meet the same chick again. You're not growing, and you kind of need to. But you guys, if you could understand and believe what it is that I believe, I think we manifested our reality from the inside. So again, I believe, like,